Hi, everybody. Nana Marie in Quebec City. I'm going to leave my comments open, see what happens because um, um, some of my favorite subscribers that I connect with, um, their comments aren't being shown. Well, that's nothing new. My views go backwards, for heaven's sakes. Um, so it is disheartening for me. You've got to understand. I know it's artificial intelligence, right? I know that, and I've got spiritual intelligence, but I have feelings, and AI does not. But I think they know how to capitalize on feelings. They do know how to capitalize on feelings because that's what they did in World War II with women and children and her children. They learned through the use of Carl Jung and Freud, Sigmund Freud, they learned, by the way, both Jewish, through torture, emotional torture in Germany of women and children until it became a physical. Like it was a nightmare there, World War II. Not gonna lie. I can see it now. It's a bloodbath with monsters, real monsters. Anyway, uh, I'm not going to go into there. I have other things to talk about. Thank you guys for being there. When I don't know anyone's there, I'm only talking to a wall. And eventually I shut down and I just, I don't feel like I'm really myself even. I'm just responding to a robotic world, and I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like that at all. I want um, people to know that I feel them when I feel them. And I know you want to know, you want the same because I have empathy. So let me get my glasses here. Um, so as far as my health, still very weak. I could dance. I've been outside all afternoon reading my book. In the rain, it came and I did it through my window. There's nothing. I can't remember the last time I sat and read a book. I couldn't before. I couldn't because I was on Synthroid. I had brain fog, something. But now I can, and I'm very focused. I even have notes for my video tonight that make me think, geez, I'm getting organized again or something. But yeah, and I have a few things I want to go over uh, to just clear up some mistakes I made in my book too. First of all, there are feelings in my book, but the feelings I'm not feeling until now while I read me. You know what I mean? Like I can tell that this little girl is like a little munchkin of some kind. You're running around the world with great observations and amazing emotional responses to how it should be. You know, I knew as a child how it should be. And the book makes that really clear that I knew how it should be. And so, first thing I said was, wow, I'm so glad I wrote out my book, my story. I can see myself. And so, if anybody's out there and they don't really aren't connected to themselves. Maybe you had a lot of trauma, or maybe, whatever. A really good idea is to write out your story and take your time. The guy had all the. You know what's wrong with this book? I was living with Frank at the time and being poisoned. He was molesting my granddaughter at the time. I wrote this book. It's at the end of the book, sorry. Um, if I ruined it for you. No, there's so many good stories in here beyond what I've even shared with you. I forgot about them, you know. And the context I put it in is good. I really do admire me for that. If I was going to do a book review, yeah, it needs edits for sure. I said before, but that was based on my judgment when the book was first published. I was full of ego, and it only needed 2 edits, and one of their edits was wrong. But now I can see so much I would not do. I would not constantly put the P and the MN before I said father or mother. Like my P father for psychopath, or my MN mother for narcissistic or malignant narcissist for my mother. Because, first of all, those labels are wrong. They were wrong. I was wrong. And I promised I'd always say when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Um, I'm not going to do the labeling of the psychiatric stuff because that's evil, evil to me. And I wouldn't do it again. So if I would really love an editor, uh, and then to add, I'd just put my story from 2011 in, because the next part of my life after this, even better. And I can write, obviously. I really am. I like my writing style. It's easy to read. It's fascinating. You don't want to put the book down. I don't want to put the book down. So I don't want your money for the book. They're still charging a lot of money at Kindle and Amazon. $10 to get Kindle. Like, this book was published in 2011. So I know they're probably selling and the corporations are getting their money, but I'm not. But I'm telling you, for a spiritual reason, I don't care about money. I care about it being a good example, and I am. I am a good example in the book. So there. I also noticed how much judgment, I when I really loved somebody, right, really didn't want to lose them, but they were working for the enemy, and I didn't know, and I was protecting them in here all the time. Like, I didn't say my real true thoughts about um, Dave, Craig. There's so much more about my stepfather that's beyond evil. And it's not in here. So the crime against me is very much minimalized. And um, you can cloud your judgment to make people out to be what they're not, and that's your projection on them. That's a bad judgment. But this is the same with when you think they're good. That will cloud your judgment too. And you won't say things you must say. You will protect them. And this is the danger for you in your afterlife. Okay? Um, Like I don't even know. I'm not finished yet. I didn't start. Started. I started in puberty. I didn't go earlier. I'm gonna now. Now that I see that I didn't go back earlier, probably for a reason, and it's a reason I will have to do. So I will go back and then I will finish it. But did I put in my book about what happened to me in Fort McMurray? I don't know. I don't know. Did I? I'm gonna find out. Like it's like a like, oh my god, did I put that in? I've got all that to do too because I didn't really know in 2011 if I was raped in Fort McMurray. I still thought I was a shithead. I didn't know if I was drugged and then gang raped by oil rig people in Fort McMurray. I I thought it was my fault. So I'm gonna have to get insightful, yeah. But when it came to me, no, I was a danger walking out there. I shouldn't have been out alone anywhere, anytime. I was so stupid, naive. Like Gary said, the most naive woman he has ever met in his life. And he did that when somebody else was getting something from me. I was a child out there. That's a fact. But I was also a professional woman working in downtown Vancouver as a professional in the social sciences. So you figure it out. And I was considered to be like a military type, right? I was structured. I had my structure and I had to go by the structure. Of course I was good and interesting, but I was still very strict in my classes. And the 16-year-old girl who went to Kanaka Bar, I escaped a serial killing rapist. How? How did I escape that guy? Guys, there's only one way: divine intervention. So, um, they can't or won't touch me when I'm awoke, when I'm awake. No, they won't. So back to Fort McMurray. Like this is why I need a publisher. But I'm gonna leave it up to, you know, whatever. But do you know that I was in every place and I touched people in every place, like in current events that have been on fire? Oh no, not all of them, sorry. Okay, but there's three major fires that happened that I was there, and Port McMurray was one of them. Now, I don't know if you remember the Ring of Fire. It was several years ago now, a few years ago now. Fort McMurray people were running for their lives just like Paradise in America. There was a ring of fire all around. They were trapped. They were trapped in Fort McMurray. And I saw the footage of cars racing through flames, guys. I saw the same thing in Paradise. We saw it in Maui. We see it in. I don't know, like, but the night or the day that I went through that trauma in Fort McMurray, I was with my boyfriend laying on the sofa at the house we were staying at. I was teaching at a high school, and he was an oil rig guy. And we were talking about, we were breaking up, really. We were breaking up at this point, I think. Like, he was too immature for me. And I was just a guy. And I didn't like the way I didn't like his parenting of his sons. So there. Anyway, I knew it was going to go nowhere. It was just a fling. And I was single. I had every right to do that in my mind. And that's the way I was raised, right? Yeah, the way we're raised here. But as we're laying on the sofa, there was a dark shadow in the house. And it was pacing the floor back and forth, going into bedrooms, going down the hall. There was no lights outside. We were in a subdivision and there's no cars, nothing to cause a dark shadow to pace for a good hour. For a good hour, this thing was pacing. And we were laying on the sofa just watching it. Neither of us were afraid. I don't know why he wasn't. Probably because he's a psychopath, a real psychopath. But he he wasn't afraid. And I'm not afraid of spirit. And it wasn't hurting me, so it was interesting to watch. But I didn't know what it was. And you can know that a dark shadow can be some spirit in a bad mood, knowing what's going to happen, right? So he was going to work for the graveyard shift. It was Christmas time, and I was on a vacation. Um, and he had friends that I had met. They'd come to the house, and they were good, decent people, male and female. And he said, "Why don't you go over to Sharon and whatever his name is to their Christmas party instead of just sitting here?" And I said, "Yeah, I might do that. That would be fun." And I bought a Mickey of gin and dressed up for the Christmas party, and I went over there. And all normal people. And then the host had two sons, or one son. He was bald. He's 25. And he was behind the bar serving drinks. But I don't do that. I had my own. And, but I sat at the bar, I sat around people, and I was talking to him. And he was such a nice young boy. He was my son's age. Like, I just remember loving the boy. And then he offered me a little drink, and I said no. He wanted to give me a clear drink that had red in it, like a drop of red in it, like clamato or something. I don't know. I don't like clamato. I don't like fish. So, and I don't take shots from people. So, no. Um, but nothing in my head. No, I'm not a paranoid nut. I just remember saying no. And that's the last thing I remember. That's it. Lights out. No more. I was gone. I probably had two drinks at that point. Um, I woke up in the morning that I'm not going to talk about. But I knew this 25-year-old was really evil. That's what I knew. But I couldn't bring it all the way up to my consciousness. And I got up and in a fog, I remember screaming at the top of my lungs all night long. And everybody in that house must have heard it. That's all I remember. And it's hard to talk about now because it's up in my consciousness. But that circle of fire was for me. Let me be clear. That was from my dad. Because a song came by Johnny Cash and Elvis Presley. Burning Love and Ring of Fire. I'll leave that there because it's heavy and I want to move on to other things, but I'm just telling you, I'm not here fake. I don't lie, and I was naive. I was stupid. I did trust in man, but that's not my fault. Just because somebody's easy, like a baby, it's up to people what they do with this. Oh, look at what I got in front of me. What can I get from this today? You're fucking yourself up so bad. What you do to others is coming back 10 times worse. That ring of fire, I would think, would be 10 times worse. He probably sizzled up. You're not getting the right numbers. You're not getting any numbers. Trust me, you're not getting any data numbers about casualties anywhere. That's a fact. The fires are all Christ inspired, including Maui. I was there. I was in Maui. I touched Maui. I worked at the Hyatt Regency Vancouver. And one of my first assignments, really, was to go to Maui and train on a computer system for labor relations. And they were having several HR managers from around America there in Maui to train for a couple weeks. And I went with Kathy. I was the employment manager at the Hyatt Regency Vancouver, and Kathy was the director of human resources. And we went there together. We got along so well. It was really good with her. I really love her. And so we went out and we got in trouble. And I was married. But it was consensual. And remember, guys, I was married to a zombie who had no feelings. And I didn't know, like, why. I just thought I was worthless. And so I reacted as a worthless person, And, but really, what I saw in Maui, this hotel in Maui, Hyatt, have you ever been there? Oh my God. It's beyond rich. It's where they play. It's where there are no rules. The rich own the little people, period. And they act like it and they treat people like it. And that's why Maui's gone. Now I know you think these cabal or whatever, they're all involved in doing it with the directed energy weapons, which I'm sure exists, right? But I'm saying it's Christ inspired, which works through people because we are all flames of Christ. And they may be doing it unconsciously, you know, like they're doing the work for money and they don't give a shit and they're just doing out all the houses and stuff because they have no feelings, right? They could be doing that. Or they could be in on a plan, like I've been, right? I'm not the only person, like I'm not so stupid as to know that this universe works with. So uh, there are others involved, and I know that um, nobody can really get away with anything based on my own life at all if it's not meant to be. But the opposite could happen, and that's what's happening. I bet these guys are just freaking out right now. I bet these guys are freaking out unless they're being told, like we're being told, that it's the government or it's the evil conspiracy thing going on. I'm looking at things in the opposite direction now because I know that Greenland uh, is is the south of us, and I know that the Reds are not human. They're a different alien. They're the Flintstones. They came from the other side of the wall, which is down by New Zealand, which is a Zeon place of some bad kind. It's probably lots of red, because that's where they first found Greenland. Look, I don't know how it all works, okay? All I know is I've been staring at this map and it does not work in any way, shape, or form left, right, north, south, east, west. What I'm looking at is the black slaves. The blackest of the black are all coming from the south. Hell, hell. Now I know you say, well, no, Australia's white. Cheryl, that's white. No, no, no. Black as black can be. The Aboriginals are as black. They've lived many lives, many generations after the Reds came. And they're dark. But they're still living a life, aren't they? They're still living a human life. And I think as long, I don't care what color you are, as long as you're born into a human body with a Christ flame, you have a chance. And the Christ flame is in your pupil. You see a little light in there? You're a Christ flame. And I see a lot of black people, as black can be, they have a Christ flame. The question is, do they have a chance? Do they have a chance? Did the Aboriginals in Australia have a chance? Or in Africa? Or in the South America area, whatever you want to call it. It's all dark shadows. Oh my God. And notice hell is hot. So I like to insert some of those kind of things too that make sense. Common denominators is the heat is down there. The heat is south. If south is south. Anyway, I don't want to get too complex. It's going to be fascinating for somebody who wants to do some research on their own. You're not going to find it at the library. You're going to have to study it, meditate on it, focus. But if you're going to go to a book that somebody else wrote and their ideas, their mind, do the same thing, repeating history. We need you to come up with yours on everything. Like that's why I get mad sometimes because I know the big picture. I've been gifted with it, but the details get muddy, and because that's where the devil lives, and so I can't really give a lot of details. But you can. You can research, like Mary getting beheaded in Ephesus, Turkey. Like shocker. Well, I didn't know that. And I didn't know a lot of women in the Mediterranean are all beheaded. There's pools of heads of women everywhere in the Mediterranean because these Flintstones now are spread everywhere. I think they went to Ireland and Scotland first. I saw that somewhere when I was seeing a video about Greenland and about the Vikings. You know why I know what I know? It's because a video was put in front of me about the Vikings from Norway going to find Greenland or something. And I thought, that sounds like a lie. And that's what got me on that path about South and Norway. So I went to YouTube and I often get spiritual intelligence. The video will pop up and I watch it. And there I find out. And my own brain then unravels what I was taught. And I got to figure out what is real. So, but a lot of times I don't have the patience or I don't give a shit. But this is interesting because of my association with so many redheads. And I want to make clear about something too, about Sunny in my book. Sunny is my stepmother. Now, I can clearly see her love for me. I can clearly see that she took care of me. She took care of me very well. But it was all that she's redhead, burnt, and she had a traumatic childhood being raised with 10 other kids and uh, not even knowing her mother wasn't her mother, her sister was her mother. So I don't know what that's all about now. I just found that out. But, that's hard to take. And you know that if your hair is going like that by that time, that it's been there for a while in the art, in that blood. That means some kind of darkness, some kind of sorrow or something took away the feelings. So people often know exactly what to do. That's why I don't like kind people anymore, because they took away the feelings and they replaced it with kindness. And so it's fragile. It's fragile. It could break. If it's not done based on the foundation of love, It's fragile. It's artificial, pseudo, and it's doing the right things because your brain is programmed to do the right thing. Is it programmed to do the right thing because you naturally want to, though? This is what I don't know about her. Because when Trevor crossed over, I went to her. I went to her house. I had to stay there. I stayed there a month, I think. She wasn't there. She was. She gave me a book, put it on the coffee table, and walked out. Guess what the name of the book was? Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. My son just died. Who is this person I am with? I could see she was soulless. I could feel soullessness. Not there. Emotionally. But always very kind. Knows how to do the right thing. Maybe somewhere deep inside, because we are. Do you ever been to the county fair or the Peony on Hastings Street in Vancouver, where I always went with my family? The Pacific National Exhibition, or you go to these little May Day things. They're everywhere, with rides for kids and stuff. And you know the mirror house, when you walk in, you can see yourself all the way down the line in the mirrors. It's funny, try to maze your way through. That was done on purpose. Everything's on purpose here to show you that we are in a mirror. And each on down the line, we could lose ourselves more and more and more. The more we take and not refill. We can't take and suck from other people and not expect to have to fill other people. People don't fill other people. They take. My friends, people take. They take love. I had somebody on my Facebook, ask me a question about my health. I answer her. She didn't come back. She didn't come back after I answer her. This is a basic form of communication. Ask a question, I answer, you say, okay, thank you, or whatever you want to say. But you don't leave me hanging. You don't leave anyone hanging. But everybody has learned to be little bitches and bastards. Oh, you got a feeling you're jealous, or you're just empty. You're in the mirror down the line with feelings of jealousy or emptiness. And you don't wanna, you're cold. Cold, I say, cold. Down the line, you get colder. Is there a way to bring Sunny or Sandy back? Is there a way? Is there a light? That you guys tell me. Because she's watching me very, very carefully on you or on my Facebook. Which I don't know what to make of that. She's just there, saying nothing. What do you do with that? When you are so filled with a life, experience, a journey with people that really touched you, really, really touched you. Yeah, I think a lot of the disasters around the world, around here anyway, are Christ inspired. So I seem to have had no danger in me. No, I felt the creeps, right, around me, but I didn't really feel a danger. And that comes from my spirit because there is no danger for me ever. Death doesn't exist. I'm dwelling in a state of mind or a state of heart that I could live with if I die. Because I'm not dying until God says so. Not me. I tried. No, no, no. I cannot die. And I cannot be murdered by serial killing rapists like the one at Kanaka Bar. Like, how did I escape that guy, guys? Who took me across a ferry of the Fraser River to a forest overnight to rape and kill me. How did he not even rape me? Some things are meant to be because of my story. Because there are many people that are in on my story unconsciously. They don't even know they are part of this plan to break this trance on Earth. I'm not working alone. I have a star cluster family. They're dead, but they're working with me very loudly, my father and my son. My grandmother, oh my God, I can't forget her. But you know who's not here, guys? My mother's not here. She was here for an instant. She was able to come um, in 2020. She died in 2009. My dad brought her to me in 2020, and he begged me to let her back into my heart. Not that I cut her out, I just ignored any cries I heard. I just ignored, like, I didn't hear it really. I had nothing. I just thought, well, I guess that's over. I guess I won't get tortured anymore. That's how I felt, really. So it wasn't any resentment or anger I had, no. Um, but in 2020, I got a lot of stuff, right? For hindsight, for my story, and one of them was my mom. And I was sent the song "You Are My Sunshine, My Only Sunshine." Now this part of my mother was her higher self. This is her higher self I saw. And um, everybody has a higher, they're Christ flames, say hello. And that song, "You Are My Sunshine," is a perfect example of how mothers feel all the freaking time when they cross over. That she thought I was in her arms. But then she woke up and I was not in her arms. And it broke her. So that song is for every child. Believe you me, mothers have a higher self. I don't know where your mom is down the line, but she was there. She was there. And so, you know why now I know she came? She was probably born after 2020 or in 2020. Born again, here on Earth. Because now I know she's here on Earth again. She was born to her granddaughter. You can pick who you're going to be born into. You pick your mother, right? And she waited until Shanae was ready. Shanae is her favorite granddaughter. Shanae lives on an Indian reserve. My mom was white. She's going in to be born to Shanae, who's brown. But I noticed in the one photo I was shown, I have it, Shanae hugging this little girl. I knew to be her daughter. Really hugging her. And I knew to be my mother. And it's not going to be pretty over there. It's not going to be pretty life. Down the line. Down the line. It does not get better. And so it's worth it to work with the kids now so that we're healthy when we want to be born again. Only it's too late, I think. For now, I'll leave that, but that's the way it should have worked out. Narcissists involve others to do the dirty work. So the others are the ones that get blamed often. But I also blame the others, but they were filled with a story. They didn't know the story for real because it's not them involved, but they believed in a story. And so they acted on the belief in the story. That's a dark shadow. Going down the line. Walking into stories and then doing things to hurt people or to involve yourself in gossip or involve yourself in words against people or actions against people. They always, those narcs, those real narcissists, never get their hands. Gary's hands aren't dirty today. No, nobody's hands are dirty until they die. And see, but we're not seeing things with clear vision here. We're seeing things through a lens, a mirror. And yeah, even that commercial with the drink, if you don't drink and drive, they have that glass, and then another glass, and another glass, and that's how foggy you get down the line. You know that commercial I'm talking about? I remember it from a long time ago. So how do I know, and how do you know an event's coming? You can feel it. That's the first reason. And because I've felt trauma coming before in my life, right? I know when something bad's coming. So, and the other way is common sense. Lies catch up with us. They always do. We are spiritual beings and nothing's going to be dirty. Nothing, nothing, nothing. It's going to be clean and clean-hearted, or it's not. It's going down backwards. It's not going forward. That's what I'm saying. And feelings shake the world. And so people are running around very kind, very kind. You see the kindness going on. But the earth is shaking because of the emotions they're not expressing. The earth is shaking because of emotions unexpressed. And it's going to come out like blood. So I'm going to have to be told if people can be brought back. I don't know. I put that out about Sunny, my stepmother, there in the book. I can't wait to keep reading. I'm going to continue to give my review on it because I've been talking to you for a while and I want to make sure everything's the honest truth. But there's one more guy I needed to talk about before I close, and his name, well, no, I'm gonna do a video on him alone. His name is David Blackburn. He wrote the book The Love Garden. He lives in Kelowna, British Columbia. He was my lover for 2 weeks, and he was the reason I got the condo at Copper Sky with 3 pools, a gym, overlooking Okanagan Lake. And I really want to get into that story on how I landed that and what happened. It deserves its own video though, so maybe I'll do that next time. How about that? I have so many stories that are, they're interesting, but I want them to be taken as a role model and friend, and not so much as um, like I don't need help. And I know a lot of people watching me don't need help. They just like the company, right? Of people that can articulate emotions. And if I can do any good here, it's all coming back on me. And it really doesn't matter what response I get. Although it feeds me and makes me feel like keep going when I am lifted, I really do. But I also know I'm being sabotaged by AI on its own. So don't worry about it. It happens to me all the time. And so now I'm at the point where I am used to disasters and I've become fluid. And um, it's a good feeling as long as I stay focused on what I'm here for and I'm not falling down in despair. And I never am. Oh my goodness, never do that to me. That's projection. That's you falling down in despair. Going through emotions is not something you know what? We just gotta listen more. We really do. We can't fix anything. We can just be there for people. They don't want to be fixed. They want your advice. They don't want your advice. Nobody does, guys. No one wants your advice. Just like you don't want my advice. You want my stories. I want your stories. I want your feelings. But it's been hard for people because they don't know how to communicate because we're not educated to. So I hope I help in that regard about communication. It's a big part of life skills that, you can really be hurting people with that way you leave them hanging and you not even realize it. Oh, I got busy. I was doing this, that, and the other thing. And we're on social media. I don't even know you. If you touch me emotionally and ask me about my health and pretend then you know me. And that's the way I feel. Or I'm going to burn my computers up and I'm talking to a wall. Right? Are we humans behind these screens or not? You got to answer that one because are we? We have to be the same in social media, at home, with family, at work. And if we can't be, we got to get out of there or figure out why. Because we're only hurting ourselves when we hurt others. There's a ripple effect. There's a ripple effect. Alrighty, I better stop. I'm had enough. Oh, what time is it? Ah, look at my favorite numbers coming right up.